mind, and their hearts, they are American. This is their home, and they're here to stay. And every day, they contribute to our communities, strengthen our economy, and make America the great nation that it is. Let's be clear. Dreamers never broke any laws, not even immigration laws. They were children. If they crossed the border or overstayed a visa, it wasn't their choice. Like any other child, they lived where their parents told them to live. Many of them were just 6 years old. 6 years old children do not violate laws. If an adult is pulled over for speeding, we don't turn around and give the adult a ticket and then give a ticket to the child in the back seat. It doesn't work that way. And let's talk about Dreamers and everything they've done. They've accomplished so much. They've graduated from college. They have finished and completed apprenticeships. They have built careers and have contributed billions of dollars to our economy. They are doctors, engineers, teachers. They start businesses and employ other fellow Americans. And yes, they do pay taxes. They keep the American dream alive. But here's the problem. Their legal status is still running out. Imagine that. Imagine growing up in America, buying a home, buying a car, getting married, having a life, having a career, and all of a sudden somebody tells you that you can't stay here anymore. And they want to send you to a place where you may not ever even been to, and you may not even speak that language anymore. Even Trump has admitted that this isn't fair. That's not the American dream. It frankly is an American nightmare. The cost of inaction is too high, and not just to dreamers and their families, but to our economy. Listen to some of these numbers. Since 2012, when DACA was created, dreamers with DACA have contributed $13 billion in state and local taxes. In Texas alone, home to the second largest number of dreamers, they add $16 billion to our state economy. Over the next decade, those on DACA are expected to earn $390 billion in wages and $117 billion in taxes paid throughout our country. And if Congress finally does the right thing and passes the Dream and Promise Act, dreamers will have a real pathway to citizenship, and we can see $798 billion a boost to the U.S. economy. That is huge. Now tell me, what kind of country would try to send someone away who is actually building and making it stronger? It doesn't make any sense. In Texas, ending DACA would result in an estimated 2,600 job losses every month. 2,600 every single month, including healthcare workers, educators, and others every single month. Every poll shows us that voters love dreamers. Dreamers are probably the ones that have the highest approval rating of anybody. I know for sure they have a better rating than we do in Congress. 70%, that's 7 out of 10 Americans, want a solution for dreamers. They see it as the only fair thing to do, and we agree. And interestingly enough, the president says he agrees too. So Congress must act now and deliver this bill to the president's desk. Some people I know, and I'll probably get a question from the press, well, why are you doing it now if immigrants are under attack? Well, why not now? Now is the time to double down. Now is the time to make sure that every dreamer out there knows that we're behind them and that we love them and that we know they've contributed to this country and they need to stay here. This is exactly the common sense solution that our constituents and Americans want us to pass here in Congress. They see some of the craziness that's going on and they go, why did they do something that's common sense that everyday Americans understand, like dreamers who have 70% approval rating? Now look, y'all, President Trump said he wants to do something about dreamers, and I know he said a lot of things, but we're going to hold him to it, aren't we? We're going to file this bill. We have over 200, almost 200 sponsors already, so I'm not here alone. I've got many members of Congress, including Republicans. This is a bipartisan bill, and we are going to fight hard to make sure we get it to the president. And we're going to tell him, if you want a solution, we have it, and we have a plan, because we want to make sure that we take action and just stop the rhetoric. It's time to act on behalf of all Americans and protect these people who have been here all their lives. It's time to pass the American Dream and Promise Act, because in this country, we do not kill the American dream. We grow it, we nurture it, we build it, and we make sure that we always fight for it. We cannot let it die. So together, we can get this done. Si se puede, home is here. Thank you all very much. Now,
Si se puede, si se puede, si se puede, si se puede.
Next, I will call to the podium the chair of the Democratic Caucus, Pete Aguilar of California.
Thank you. I want to thank. I'm Pete Aguilar. I'm the chair of the House Democratic Caucus. I want to thank Sylvia Garcia for her steadfast leadership and authoring this bill. Sylvia follows Lucille Roybal Allard and many others in Congress who have served with us, who have led on this issue. And she has done a masterful job in building a coalition among the Democratic Caucus because she is a respected leader on these issues. I want to thank Leader Hakeem Jeffries and Whip Clark also for their leadership in prioritizing the importance of this bill. Today, House Democrats are again recommitting ourselves to the promise of the American dream, to the idea that anyone in this country can write their own destiny. For over a decade, more than 800,000 young people have lived up to that promise and have made our country stronger. Our friends, our neighbors, their teachers, doctors, nurses, essential workers, business owners, service members in our military, and much more. As Sylvia mentioned, they pay taxes, some of them own homes, and they have contributed $108 billion in our local economy. And yet, these are the same individuals who live in fear, who live in the shadow of fear and are threatened by extreme Republicans who have been unpredictable and have threatened their livelihood in the courts. Our community is rightfully concerned about the harm from the Trump administration, the recklessness that will cause. That kind of uncertainty in the only country that they've called home is absolutely unacceptable. We can do better, and we will do better. House Democrats know America is a nation of immigrants, and we also recognize our current immigration system is broken. The only way to fix it is to secure our border, keep our communities safe, protect dreamers, farm workers, those with TPS status, families around our country. That's why today's introduction of the Dream and Promise Act is so critical. House Democrats remain hopeful that the more so-called moderate Republicans will join us to pass this historic legislation. I want to thank the Hispanic Caucus. I want to thank Representative Sylvia Garcia and thank all of you for the support and the friendship so we can get this done together.
Thank you. Thank you, Pete. And next up we'll have Katherine Clark, our Democratic whip.
Thank you. I am so proud to be here with all of you today to celebrate refiling of this critical bill for our country and for its future. I want to thank Chairman Aguilar for all of his leadership around immigration and making a system that works for everyone in this country. And I especially want to thank my trailblazing friend, Sylvia Garcia. As a Chief Deputy Whip, you are an invaluable partner to me and to our entire caucus. And as a champion of the American Dream and Promise Act, you are a force for basic bipartisan American values. Ideas that transcend ideology and politics, ideas that are core to who we are as a people. The idea that kids and adults should be free to live their lives in the only country they have ever called home. The idea that our neighbors who have fled their homes, have followed the rules, done everything right, deserve safety, dignity, and opportunity to build a future for themselves and for their families. Dreamers serve in our military. They're our teachers, our healthcare providers. They are integral to our communities. And in Massachusetts, our 12,000 Dreamers contribute over $130 million annually in taxes paid. They are American in all the ways that matter, and now it is up to us to clean up the paperwork and give them the citizenship they deserve. Members of both sides of the aisle talk about supporting our Dreamers. And while the talk and support is great, now is the time to act. We want everyone to act by voting for this Dream and Promise Act. Let's bring it to the floor and let's get it done. I thank everyone who is standing here today in support of this common sense legislation that is crucial to who we are as an American people. Let's bring it to a vote. Thank you.
Do it. Let's bring it to a vote. Now, next up is Congresswoman Nita Velasquez from New York. She's also the ranking member of Small Business Administration, and she was the original author of the TPS bill that actually is also sandwiched into the Dream and Promise Act.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so very much, Sylvia, for bringing all of us together, and to all of you. We owe this to you. Immigration make America America. That is what America is all about. Imagine for a second.
Y no nos vamos. Aquí estamos y no nos vamos. Aquí estamos y no nos vamos. Justicia, libertad y dignidad para todos los que habitan en esta gran nación. Justicia, libertad, libertad y justicia para todos los que habitan en esta gran nación.
Gracias, señora. Gracias. We are here today because millions of Dreamers, TPS holders, and DED recipients have been left in the dark for far too long, forced to live in limbo, constantly looking over their shoulders, never knowing if the country they call home will turn its back on them. These are our neighbors, our co-workers, our friends. They are small business owners, teachers, first responders, and service members. They have built their lives here, raised their families here, paid taxes, and contributed to our country in countless ways. They are American to their core in nearly every way except on paper. We treat them like they do not belong, but here we are to say that yes, you do. This is a moral failure. Dreamers and TPS holders have done everything right. They follow the rules. They work hard. They have made sacrifices. And by the way, TPS holders, they came here because the United States government invited them to come. You know, from El Salvador to Haiti to countries in Africa, Venezuela, they use them when they want to put down, you know, the communists here and there. but they are here, working hard and playing by the rules. They have worked hard, they have made sacrifices, and for what? To be used as bargaining chips? To be told time and time again that their fate is up to Congress? That is unacceptable. This press conference is a call to action. The Bipartisan American Dream and Promise Act is a solution that should have passed years ago. It provides a real pathway to citizenship for dreamers, offering them the stability and security they deserve. And I am proud that my provisions for TPS holders are a critical component of this comprehensive legislation. This is not radical. This is not controversial. This is common sense. This is about standing up for people who have already proven through their contributions, their resilience, and their love for this country that they belong here. President Trump has said that he wants to help dreamers, that he loves dreamers. Well, Mr. President, here is your chance. This bill is a bipartisan. It is fair. It's ready to go. So let's get this done once and for all. I want to thank my colleagues, especially Congresswoman Garcia and Congresswoman Clark, for their relentless leadership on this issue. It is time for action, it is time for justice, and it is time to pass the American Dream and Promise Act. Gracias.
Inmigrantes unidos jamás serán vencidos. Inmigrantes unidos jamás serán vencidos. Inmigrantes unidos jamás serán vencidos. Aquí estamos y no nos vamos. Aquí estamos y no nos vamos. Y si nos echan no regresamos.
As the Congresswoman mentioned, the other co-author is Yvette Clark. Sandwiched in together with some of the words from the bill that she had on TPS is Yvette Clark's DED language. So thank you again for working with us this year. And would you like to say a few words?
Absolutely. Let me, first of all, thank Congresswoman Garcia. Let me thank Congresswoman Velasquez and all of our colleagues who have stayed true to the mission. And it is not mission impossible. It is a mission that we will be victorious in. Greetings and good afternoon, everyone. I'm Congresswoman Yvette D. Clark, and I proudly represent New York's 9th Congressional District, which is located in central and southwest Brooklyn. I want to express my deep gratitude once again to Congresswoman Sylvia Garcia for reintroducing the bipartisan legislation, as well as to each of my colleagues on both sides of the aisle for their support in co-sponsoring this truly necessary bill. We all know these are perilous times for our nation, and as we watch this administration refuse to yield an inch in its crusade against immigrant communities, now more than ever, we must take a stand and protect DACA recipients, those of temporary protected status and DED, from Donald Trump's cruelty. The time has come to pass the American Dream and Promise Act and take a critical step forward in delivering common sense immigration reform. My district represents people and cultures from around the world, and I am so very lucky to say many of them are dreamers. These proud, soon-to-be Americans arrived in our nation when they were only children. But today, our neighbors are decent, hardworking, and valued members of our community. Not only do they play a necessary role in shaping the beautiful and diverse mosaic of Brooklyn, and by extension, the country as a whole, they contribute to the billions. They contribute billions to our nation's economy and work every day to make this country better. If we fail to provide dreamers with their long-deserved permanent pathways to citizenship and protection from deportation, families will be torn apart, vital industries will face labor shortages, and the moral fabric of this nation will fall even further. As the daughter of Jamaican immigrants who through hard work and determination achieved their own American dream, securing comprehensive immigration reform will always be a passion and priority for me. I'm proud to fight for legislation that puts the well-being of our immigrant neighbors first, and I'm proud to continue the work we all know needs to be done. Thank you. Thank you all. I want to thank the advocates. I want to thank my colleagues. I want to thank all of you who have continued to stay in the battle. We will be victorious. We will win.
Sí se puede.
Sí se puede. Thank you.
Sí se puede. Sí se puede.
Sí se puede.
Sí se puede.
You know, Congresswoman Clark is also the chair of the Congressional Black Caucus, and with us today we also have the chair of the Congressional Hispanic Caucus, Aguilar, also from New York.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sylvia. Thank you for reintroducing the Dream and Promise Act. And let the word go out today across this country that we are backing up dreamers, that we are not stepping 1 inch back, that in the midst of these difficult times, we will stand with you, that you are not alone. You're not alone. Many would like us to think that we should not be here today. But we are here today, and we're not going to go away. And we're here to protect dreamers, farm workers, and to keep families together. Now, dreamers are teachers, nurses, business owners, homeowners, members of our armed forces. Those are dreamers, and that's why we're here to protect them and to make sure that the Dream and Promise Act is passed into law. Farm workers are staying out of the farms. They're afraid they're going to be deported. That's going to show up at the cash register in the supermarket. And families must be kept together, because families that are divided are weak families, and they make up a weak nation. And so dreamers, farm workers, and keeping families together is an important piece of our agenda. But dreamers are not just the future of our nation. You're the present. Ustedes son el presente. Los soñadores son el presente. Los soñadores son soldados, son maestros, enfermeras, dueños de negocio, dueños de su propia casa. Y por tal razón, nosotros estamos aquí para apoyar a la congresista Garcia. Y el Caucus hispano está directamente atrás de este esfuerzo para apoyarla a ella y asegurar de que los soñadores sean parte íntegra, completa de nuestra nación. No un apéndice, no algo fuera de lo común, ahí afuera, algo dentro de la experiencia de esta gran nación, que es una experiencia que debe ser de techo amplio, de inclusividad, que ampare a todas las personas de buena voluntad. Adelante, soñadores, nunca ni un paso hacia atrás.
Sí se puede, sí se puede, sí se puede, sí se puede.
Now, after we file the bill, it goes to a committee, and it'll be the Judiciary Committee, and the chair of the Immigration Subcommittee, the committee that would actually start working on it and take it up and work on it through the committee itself, is Pramila Jayapal, and she is from Washington, right? From Washington State. For some reason, I thought Oregon.
Ciudadanía para los dreamers.
Sí, sí.
¿Cuándo? Ahora. ¿Cuándo?
Ahora.
¿Cuándo?
Ahora.
¿Cuándo?
Thank you all so much, and I want to just thank my colleague, Representative Garcia, for her incredible leadership on this bill, on this issue. All of my colleagues who are here today have been champions for immigrant justice, for immigrant families, for dreamers, for DACA, for dreamers, DED and TPS recipients. And it is really an honor to be here with you. I was late because I was in Immigration Subcommittee. I wish I was the chair. I'm the ranking member, the top Democrat on that committee right now. But we were marking up another horrible bill that tries to expand the net of deportations for immigrants. So I had to be there to be on this bill. But I want to say thank you to United We Dream, to CASA, to Forward, to all of the dreamers who have been powering this movement for decades. We would not be where we are today without you taking the risks, without you telling your stories, without you organizing on the ground across the country. So thank you, thank you, thank you to all of you. This is a really important day. For the past 5 Congresses that I have been here, I have been very proud to be a co-sponsor to help lead and pass the Dream and Promise Act. When we had the majorities in Congress, we passed the bill, and it was bipartisan, and it is bipartisan again today. I know what the American dream means because I came here as an immigrant myself at the age of 16, by myself, nothing in my pocket, and now I get to serve with about 24 of us in Congress who are naturalized citizens, and I get to be the ranking member of the Immigration Subcommittee. My work with Dreamers, though, began long before Congress when I was leading an immigrant rights organization in Washington State, when we were in the streets together, when we were supporting Dreamers at the very beginning, pushing for what you deserve and what our country deserves, to get the skills and the talents and the creativity and the ingenuity of Dreamers everywhere. And so let me remind everybody that it was Barack Obama, that the Democratic president, that actually passed DACA. And we have stood by Dreamers every step of the way. Now, under Republican attacks, under President Trump ending DACA back in 2017, now going to the court, we are here again to say in a bipartisan way there are people on both sides of the aisle who believe that the Dream and Promise Act should be law, And so we have to make sure that the mass deportations don't happen and that we have a path for people to actually be here and have stability. That would have real impacts for our constituents and our communities everywhere. It would mean that in my home state of Washington, Alejandra, who is pursuing a PhD, would be able to finish school instead of having to leave. It would mean that Maria, a nursing student who just wants to help vulnerable people, can finish her program. It would mean that Victor, who actually wants to be a law enforcement officer, and in Washington State, we have a program where Dreamers can apply to be part of law enforcement because we have a lot of gaps in that sector. He would be able to actually do that. We are already seeing the harm and the fear of Trump's deportations, of his ending of TPS designations, and all of that means that 3.5 million Dreamers, TPS holders, and DED recipients would not have a stable, dependable future, and that our country would suffer as a result. Because I want to be very clear, Dreamers, TPS holders, DED recipients contribute to America. And you deserve a stable future. We deserve to have the benefits of those contributions. So I am proud to be here again under the leadership of Sylvia Garcia, the chairs of our various caucuses on the Democratic side, to say to you that I have been in this fight for 25 years. I am not stepping back. I am going to use every power that we have in committee to continue to fight for you and to make sure that we pass and make law the American Dream and Promise Act. Thank you all so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Next up, we have Lou Correra. Lou is also on that subcommittee and is from California.
Muchas gracias, Sylvia. Thank you very much for your good work. Let's give her a round of applause, please. Y les doy a todos aquí las gracias por estar aquí hoy. You know, there's a lot of rhetoric, a lot of spin, a lot of false facts being spun over there. Today, these are the facts. First of all, immigration is about America, and immigrants make America strong. And Dreamers are Americans in the true sense of the word. I represent Central Orange County, home to probably the biggest number of dreamers in the United States. The biggest number of dreamers in the USA are in my district, and I'm proud to represent them. Let me tell you who they are. Local police department has police officers that are dreamers. Does it make sense to deport them? Absolutely not. They are soldiers. And let me say, some have made the ultimate sacrifice for this country. Does it make sense to deport them? Of course not. That would weaken our great nation. Finally, let me tell you, my State of the Union guest, Santa Ana Police Chief Rodriguez, came to this country without documents. Today, he's a police chief of a major city in California. Would you deny him the opportunity to serve and protect our great constituents? Absolutely not. Finalmente les digo, no se rindan, no dejen perder estos grandes peleas, porque al fin del día, Diosito cuida a sus hijos y hijas. Thank you very much.
Unidos jamás será vencido. Unido jamás será vencido. El pueblo unido jamás será vencido.
Thank you all. Next up is Sylvia Ramirez. She is from Chicago. And until a couple of months ago, her husband was a DACA recipient. So she knows personally the challenges and what it takes to have to keep fighting and not give up. Congresswoman?
Thank you. Thank you, Congresswoman Sylvia Garcia. A mentor, a leader, I'm going to say it, a chingona that doesn't give up. I said it. I'm not in committee. They can't take my words out, right? They just tried over there now. Well, as you heard, my name is Delia Catalina Ramirez, and I am the proud daughter of Luis y Maria Ramirez, Guatemalan immigrants. I am a citizen by birthright, and I am the wife of an incredible man who, until recently, was a DACA recipient. He was a dreamer. And I'm the congresista of a welcoming state that understands that America can only be great because of its diversity and its immigrants. For the past 2 years, but especially in the last month, immigrants have been scapegoated and villainized nationwide. We've seen dangerous and inhumane policies that put DACA recipients at grave risk. And at this moment, every single member of this body has a choice, friends. The choice is, are you going to be unapologetically pro-dreamer? Or are you going to have posters, pundits, and politicals lead you to waffle? Will you protect those who dare to dream of a better life and have the courage to seek it out? Or are you going to be too cowardly to remember, for many of my colleagues at least, that the dreams that led their ancestors to these same shores? Will you push back on the fear-mongering that robs our neighbors of their dignity and questions their humanity? Or will you sit quietly by it? Frankly, I don't care what party you belong to. Today is a moment for Democrats and Republicans alike to prove that every dreamer, every immigrant who calls our nation home, that we know get to be part of the fabric of the nation that they have built. Today is more imperative than ever that Congress finally act to affirm that our immigrant families are seen, they're valued, and they're an integral part of our communities. And it is why I'm proud to stand here today as a co-lead of the reintroduction of the Dream and Promise Act. Today, we step again into the invitation for Congress to give dreamers and immigrants in America an earned pathway to citizenship. Our communities, mi familia, our families, they don't want to be part of these broken campaign promises. They are tired of lip service. They are done with being a negotiating chip in these halls. My family and our communities do not need your validation that they are essential, precious, and valuable and powerful because you know it. Saben ustedes muy bien que son poderosos, que son invaluables, que este país sin ustedes se cae. Ustedes lo saben muy bien. Y no necesitan que nosotros lo digamos. Lo que necesitan de nosotros es que votemos y hagamos el trabajo que nos mandaron a hacer aquí y finalmente pasemos esta legislación. So what we need is your solidarity. I've been watching your sweater here. It says, stay warm, build power, repeat. Stay warm, build power, repeat. I would say stay warm, and then if you're not feeling warm, you're getting cold on a day, because there are days that it feels really cold, unite, get closer to each other, and then build power and repeat. We have to do that in solidarity, and we need each member of this body to move the needle to real comprehensive immigration reform. No more bans, no walls, no raids, punto. Esto es solo el principio. Seguiremos luchando por esta legislación y otra necesaria para garantizar el bienestar de nuestras comunidades and inmigrantes. With today's introduction, we are again watering a seed that was already planted for a more just future for our dreamers. I'll close by reminding Trump about his promise to provide a pathway for dreamers. If that's the case, today we offer up bipartisan legislation that would strengthen our economy and uplift people who are the most loving contributors of this nation, those that have been here since they were children, who have spent their lives here as the fabric of our communities. Let's get it done. Enough excuses. A trabajar se ha dicho y no pararemos hasta que pase. Thank you.
Inmigrantes unidos jamás serán vencidos. Inmigrantes unidos jamás serán vencidos.
Let's get it done. And we know that we cannot do it without all of you. So many groups have endorsed this bill, over 100. Remember, over 200 members of Congress are behind this bill. We've gotten over 100 groups from around the country supporting this bill. And it's going to take all of us united to get it done. And leading some of the work on this will be United with Dream, and from their group we have Alexis.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you to Congresswoman Garcia and her colleagues for co-sponsoring this bill, and to everyone who has helped put on this critical press conference and invited me to share my story. My name is Alexis Juarez. I'm a member of the United We Dream and a college student from Maryland. I am also undocumented and unafraid. Although my family and I moved to the U.S. when I was a young child, it was until my senior year of high school that I really began to confront the realities of being undocumented. As I was exploring scholarships and opportunities for college, I grew anxious and exhausted as my reality set in. There weren't many options for undocumented students like me. I knew I would have to work even harder to create my path from high school to college. With determination, I got accepted to Marymount University. I'm currently in my junior year studying biology on a pre-dental track. I want to become an orthodontist someday. Although I qualify for DACA, which would provide me access to work permit and temporary protection from deportations, I have been cut off from the program due to the tax officials in Texas and other states have carried out, which have blocked all new applicants. Without DACA, I've had to find alternatives to work and live while balancing being a full-time student. When I first heard that the Dream and Promise Act was going to be reintroduced, I felt a sense of hope again. This is a bill that has overwhelming support by the American people, because the truth is, communities across the country want to see their elected officials fighting for something. Every day, immigrants are under attack in this country. People like me, people like my mom, who is here with me today. This bill isn't just common sense policy. It's also an opportunity for members of Congress to throw their full support behind something that would work to shield immigrants from the attacks we're facing. Although I made it to college, I still continue to navigate obstacles of being undocumented as I search for scholarships, internships, jobs, and more. While some of my classmates are able to focus solely on getting accepted to internships based on merit, I'm often told I'm ineligible to even apply to just based on my status. The Dream and Promise Act will give me the opportunity to fulfill my potential as a student, son, and hopeful orthodontist. This bill will provide the stability I need in my life to continue working towards my dreams, providing for my family, and contributing to a country I've always called my home. I urge our elected leaders to face this moment with the courage it demands. Protect immigrants like me. Keep families like mine together, and let us have the freedom to move, stay, and strive in the places we call home. Thank you. And with that, I will pass it over to the next speaker.
Thank you so much, Alexis. Thank you so much, Alexis, and please know that we are with you. We are with you. Next up is a representative from Forward Us, Maria Prielli.
Thank you, Congresswoman. Thank you. Muchas gracias. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, yes. Buenas tardes. My name is Maria Preli, and I'm the Deputy Director of Government Relations at Forward US. I am so incredibly honored to be standing here on this beautiful day in February alongside champions like Congresswoman Garcia, others who spoke previously, leaders, advocates, and those from the impacted community as they introduce the American Dream and Promise Act. I speak to you today not just as a representative of Forward US, but also as someone who was formerly undocumented and understands the pain and trauma that too many people in our community continue to endure. And as we gather here today, there are millions of undocumented individuals across the country who are integral members of our communities, but are living with heightened fear and uncertainty. And that's why the reintroduction of the American Dream and Promise Act comes at a critical moment. The bill would ensure that DACA recipients, dreamers, TPS holders, and their families can continue living in and contributing to the country that they call home. These individuals have built their lives here. They have families, they are homeowners. They are deeply ingrained into the fabric of the American society. For example, DACA recipients came here at the average age of 6, and they've been here for an average of 26 years. Similar to TPS holders, they are participating in the labor force and contributing billions of dollars to the economy every single year. They are married, have U.S. citizen children, but continue to live with the uncertainty as the future of the programs remain in jeopardy. DACA recipients and dreamers should not have to live their livelihoods tied to the whims of the courts. And TPS recipients who call this country home should not continue to face an uncertain future. As a country, we know we are better off when our immigration system allows people to thrive. We have seen that with DACA and TPS, transforming the lives of millions of people, allowing them to be able to work legally and live with the safety and dignity that we all deserve. But those are not permanent protections. And we know that bills such as the American Dream and Promise Act will provide those protections that are so vital and unlock even greater potential across our country. The threat against immigrant communities is real. It is very real today, and it's right in front of us. Every member of Congress who has ever had a supportive statement on behalf of Dreamers or TPS recipients, every single one of them, regardless of their political party, should be supporting this bill. If they care about Dreamers, TPS holders, if they care about the American economy and continuing to grow it, then they should be supportive of this legislation. Because we know that only Congress can provide the permanent stability that our community deserves. So thank you again, everyone, this afternoon, and thank you so much to Congresswoman Sylvia Garcia, who continues to be a champion regardless of all the hardships in this issue. Thank you so much, Congresswoman.
Thank you so much, Maria.
Jamás será vencido. El pueblo unido jamás será vencido.
Y el pueblo, bueno, el pueblo tiene que estar unido y tenemos que todos trabajar cada día, hoy, mañana y siempre, y no los debemos parar. Y unidos con nosotros también es casa y tenemos a EL.
Thank you. Buenas tardes a todos. Mi nombre es AL. Soy de Venezuela, orgullosamente de Venezuela. Inmigrante, un esposo, un padre. Miembro orgullosamente de casa desde que llegué aquí a los Estados Unidos hace 5 años y medio.
My name is AL. I'm a proud CASA member, a husband, a father, and I've been here since I came here to the U.S. 5 years ago from Venezuela.
Hoy me encuentro aquí con un propósito muy grande y poderoso, alzar mi voz en defensa de mí y de mi familia y de todos los inmigrantes venezolanos.
I'm here today proudly to share my voice and speak on behalf of myself, my family, and Venezuelans across the country.
Aquí nosotros con el TPS hemos encontrado una gran esperanza de vida para poder trabajar, que es una tabla de salvación, como decimos nosotros, porque nos permite reconstruir nuestras vidas después de años bajo la persecución y el miedo que encontrábamos o que tenemos en Venezuela.
I'm here today with a bunch of hope and promise with this wonderful opportunity. TPS has been a blank slate for me to be able to reconstruct my life after suffering for many years under persecution and suffering.
Como le he dicho, mi historia en el estado de Maryland no es la mía, es la de miles de venezolanos que hemos soportado un sistema brutal que siempre nos busca silenciar el pensamiento libre y aplastar la democracia.
My story is not only the story of mine, but of Venezuelans throughout Maryland who have fled a system that was oppressing our people and repressing our freedom of speech.
Durante más de 23 años fui miembro dedicado al sindicato, fui concejal de un municipio, fui luchador social, fui, como se dice, defendiendo los derechos de los trabajadores.
For over 23 years in Venezuela, I was a proud union member, working with the municipality, protecting the rights of our workers, and being proud of that work.
Como ustedes han visto, fui un opositor al gobierno, porque no nos deja pensar libremente ni en la democracia con una justicia social.
I was opposed to the government, as you could hear, because of my standing up for workers' rights, a system that was oppressing our rights regardless of our democratic system.
Pero en Venezuela, tener ideales, pensamientos libres, creer en la democracia y en la justicia social es tener una sentencia de ir a la cárcel o estar muerto, porque eso es lo que hace el gobernante de allá, que no es ningún gobernante, es un autoritario.
But in Venezuela, believing in free speech, workers' rights, and more is a sentence to jail and even to death. Back home, these are all threats to the current government and is a threat to our livelihood.
Y debido a todo esto que le vengo diciendo, tomé una decisión porque corríamos peligro tanto mi familia como yo y los demás venezolanos. Fue entonces cuando decidí tomar una difícil decisión, venirme de Venezuela a los 59 años, después de tanto luchar por una democracia.
And because of these threats, I made the very hard decision to come to the United States at 59 years old, seeking these rights and protections here.
En el 2021 me encontré en este gran país con un sueño como todo americano, que venimos de Sudamérica, así como llegan los de Centroamérica, porque todos somos americanos. Encontré el TPS, el estatus de protección que me daba para trabajar y llevar comida, porque trabajé como delivery o estoy trabajando como delivery.
In 2021, I came to this great country seeking refuge. I was managed to apply for TPS and have received those benefits, and since then have been working as a food delivery driver and continue to do so, providing for myself and my family.
Con este trabajo, mi familia reconstruimos la vida que habíamos perdido. Sin embargo, a pesar de la protección que ofrece el TPS,
with this opportunity, I've been able to provide for my family and continue to rebuild what we have lost.
Recientemente fue arrebatado por la administración y la secretaria Cristi Noén.
But this administration has moved to revoke TPS for Venezuela alongside with the Secretary Noem,
quien se refirió a nosotros los inmigrantes como una escoria. ¿Qué es eso?
We have been, by the Secretary and the President, we have been referred to as beasts.
Que merecemos ser expulsados. Solo estos comentarios son profundamente anti-inmigrantes, sino también, en mi opinión, están profundamente arraigados en el racismo y en el prejuicio.
These statements and comments are not only racist and anti-immigrant, but are a threat to ourselves here as well.
La verdadera fuerza de nuestra democracia reside en manos de un pueblo, en el coraje de aquellos que se levantan para luchar por la justicia.
The real strength of our communities reside in the power and advocacy efforts of all of us, our righteous justice to be here advocating for ourselves and our families.
La igualdad y la dignidad por eso es ante ustedes hoy, instando al Congreso a aprobar la ley del sueño americano y promesa.
Equality and justice is why we're here. That's why today I'm here to proudly be here with the Congresswoman and Congress members to uplift the Dream and Promise Act.
Esta legislación no es solo una tabla de salvación. Para mí, los titulares del TPS como yo ofrezco un camino hacia el estatus permanente, sino un paso poderoso para elevar a los miembros de casa y otros inmigrantes en todo el país.
This legislation is not only a great starting point for us, but is a step forward for my CASA members, immigrants throughout the country, and provides a justice for us that we have worked for many years.
Por eso hoy le pido a los legisladores que aprueben esta ley para que todos los venezolanos y los demás inmigrantes que tenemos un TPS, que aprueben esa ley para seguir trabajando y luchando, porque sí se puede, sí se puede, sí se puede.
Thank you,
Well, next I'm going to invite for just a minute or two a special guest that's been in my office to visit, who is a influencer who does a lot of social media on immigration, is not afraid to speak up and fight for all of us. Attorney Martinez.
Thank you for having me. I am a wife of an immigrant, Alejandro Martinez. I am an immigration attorney. I have about 2 million followers of immigrants mostly, and I have a lot of clients who are dreamers who also have TPS, and it is very, very, very important that we give them a pathway to citizenship now. Why now? Our president was caught on camera advocating for dreamers. Let's hold him to it. Now, adversaries against immigration, they don't want to hear about how good we are and how awesome they are in their hearts. They're not thinking with their hearts, they're not thinking with their brains, they think with their wallets. So let's meet them in the middle. Let's talk about wallets. They contribute billions in taxes a year they receive no benefit from. They're lawyers, doctors, engineers, policemen, nurses. They cannot have a criminal record in order to have DACA. We only stand to gain financially to give them a pathway to citizenship. Deporting them makes no sense. We only lose money in our wallets. It's very, very important that we pass this act. Like Sylvia Garcia said, there are supporters on both sides of the political spectrum who have no problem with giving dreamers a pathway to citizenship. Let's do it. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. With that concludes our press conference. If the press has one or two questions, I know the sun is getting hotter and probably your stomachs are growling. But anybody have any questions? If not, please reach out to my staff if you all need any one-on-ones or a Spanish language press needs something in Spanish. We'll have a press avail this afternoon. Where's Robert? What time is the press avail? Robert, what time is the press avail?
The press avail is going to be at 4:30 Eastern, 3:30 Central.
At 4:30 Eastern, which is here, we will be having a press avail if you'd like to join us on that. Thank you all so much. Have a great day. Y si se puede. Si se puede. Si